Dr. Dietrich, Dr. Bauer, teachers, family, friends, and most of all, class of 2018, welcome. I am Maggie Walsh, and I proudly served as class president for the past 3 years at North Penn. Today, I would like to talk to you about music. Music is the great connector, the storyteller of our lives. Each of our stories are unique, but they are connected by the collective soundtrack of our lives as a class of 2018. In 2005, we entered kindergarten at our various elementary schools, and our soundtrack, like our stories, were mostly those of our parents. Some listened to Barney or church music like myself, while the lucky ones listened to their parents' music like Beatles and Led Zeppelin. But with our entrance into school came the chance to create our own shared moments, which were defined by the music that underscored them. It truly was a wonderful, simple world, and the simple themes and rhythms of our music match the simplicity of our lives. In 2008, we entered 3rd grade. We tried to push into the musical worlds of our older peers and claim our own songs. The #1 song of the year was Flo Rida's Low. I remember the horror on my mom's face when her innocent 3rd grader started singing about the apple-bottom jeans and boots with the fur of the girls at the club. We were so sure the whole club was looking at us. Looking back, this mix of innocence and sass seems to have defined our elementary-age selves. In 2012, Gotti's angsty #1 song of the year seemed to echo the turmoil of starting middle school, as our friends, and even ourselves, often felt like somebody that we used to know. As we all worked hard to forge new, more grown-up identities and find our way. In 2015, we entered the big, unknown halls of North Penn with the outward bravado of that year's #1 song, Uptown Funk by Bruno Mars. We strutted these halls with our Don't Believe Me, Just Watch walk, our giant lunch bags, and our sophomore backpacks. But behind this confidence, many of us felt a moody uncertainty that our parents and teachers tried to ease. And the beat played on. In 2017, we entered the horror of junior year. No other song could define last year, as well as 21 Pilots songs stretched out. In the midst of SATs, APs, increased workloads, and planning for college, this song's pulsing lyrics, wish we could go back in time to the good old days when our mama sang us to sleep, but now we're stressed out, said it all. In the midst of school stress, extracurricular activities, and anxiety of every person you ever saw, ever, asking about your future plans, we all had our friends who kept us sane and understood it in a way that those who didn't share our soundtrack never could. So many of our experiences, so much of our soundtrack is shared. We must never forget, however, the beauty and value of our own soundtracks, the one we hear quietly in our own heads, some celebratory, some corny, some off-key, some heartbreaking. We must always remember that often those dancing on the outside are singing an entirely different song on the inside. My own soundtrack is split, probably like many of yours. I may seem like an enthusiastic, involved person, one only filled with upbeat melodies and catchy lyrics. While that is partially true, more complicated rhythms lie beneath. For the past 4 years, I have dealt with chronic health issues that have caused me to miss weeks and weeks of school at a time, making my journey more difficult than you may believe. I've kept my personal soundtrack and my health issues private, but they're an essential part of my song. Know that the friend, the teacher, the parent, the stranger dancing next to you has his or her own private symphony pulsing inside. Know that the shared playlist of our lives, as well as our own private Spotifys, all have equal beauty, equal power, and equal responsibility for bringing us to this day. It is now 2018, and here in Crawford Stadium, our shared soundtrack, like Ed Sheeran's current hit, seems pretty close to perfect. Of course, our soundtrack must come to an end to make way for new songs and new beginnings. Some songs, however, seem to play in our memories well after they fall from the charts. As I remember this day, long into the future, Green Day's Good Riddance will be playing in my head. And I will think about these halls where we made our best friends and lifelong memories and paved the road for our limitless futures. The soundtrack I will remember, and hope you will as well, is filled with songs of celebration and friendship, challenges and tears, and all that made us who we are. In our soundtrack, our story is something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you have the time of your life. Congratulations, class of 2018, and thank you for being a part of my song.